Good morning, friends. Today we will be discussing about the constitutionality of the intervention of the Honorable Supreme Court of India in the protest relating to farm laws by the farmers and other citizens of this country. First, we should remember what is the ground on which the Constitution empowers the Supreme Court in such a dispute. Second, we should understand, is it proper or fair on the part of the judiciary to step into the executive domain, which has been exclusively entrusted to the executives and the parliament under the democratic arrangements of our constitution? By virtue of Article 12, Supreme Court has been exclusively exempted from the ambit of Article 12 because it is presumed that the fundamental rights shall be violated by none other than the state. What constitutes the state? The parliament and the executive of the union, that is the central government, the legislature and the executive of the state, and their instrumentalities put together, including the local authority. Local authorities and other authorities functioning under the government of India, for that matter, in the government of the state. If there is a fundamental rights violation takes place, where the people can go? Ultimately to the judiciary. If the judiciary also shuts the door, where the people can go? I remember Sri Arun Jaitley, when he was debating about the striking down of the NJSE constitutional amendment by the Supreme Court, he was telling the same. When he has been detained under an unconstitutional law during the emergency period, people have knocked the doors of the Supreme Court and Supreme Court said, sorry, we cannot help you. Please remember, the institutional virtuosity and individual virtuosity is the need of the hour. The virtuosity of the Supreme Court has survived not by the majority judgments, not by the majority judges, for that matter judgment, but by the minority judges, for that matter by the minority judgment. You all can guess it what I would like to say. It is a single judge, namely Justice Sri Khanna, who has battled solely for the purpose of protecting the rights of the citizens of this country, for that matter even to the non-citizens of this country in certain aspects which has been guaranteed by our constitution. This is very important. Today what is happening? We are having such a similar scenario. Instead of guarding the rights of the people, the Supreme Court joins the hands with the executive and compelling the people to go for a negotiation, and that too a committee which has been set up on its own arbitrarily. In that committee, there is no representation of the farmers. This is very important. First of all, there is no place for mediation as per the mediation rules. What is the law governing the arbitration and mediation? Arbitration Act 1996. There is a qualification prescribed for that matter. It is not everybody can be appointed as an arbitrator or mediator. Only those who are qualified can be appointed. Second thing, there is a right for the parties to nominate. Then who is the party? What are the people who have been nominated? On the point of view from the farmers, whether farmers have offered, whether farmers have come forward. In fact, farmers have rejected the committee proposal put forth by the government. Please remember, Arbitration Act prescribes certain qualifications. But this has been blatantly violated by our Honorable Supreme Court in the cases concerning Mukesh Ambani and his own brother, a corporate dispute, come family dispute. They have appointed the mother whether the mother is duly qualified under the Arbitration Act, and that too the Supreme Court has spent months together in conducting the cases expeditiously on day-to-day basis to render justice to whom? Is it to the common people? It's a billion-dollar question. I leave it to your good sense. Now, there is a constitutionality involved. A dispute about the constitutional validity of these laws have been challenged. It is pending. Whether a subject matter of a constitutional validity of an act is subjected to arbitration or mediation, I leave it to you. But that's the question. Now, what is the signal the Honorable Supreme Court is sending? Whether is it not prejudicing the views of the Supreme Court in the future? Very rarely the law has been stayed. That too in Maratha case, directly speaking, the Supreme Court has not stayed the law, its operation. Supreme Court has only stayed the judgment given by the High Court of Bombay. That's what people can say. And Mandal Commission case is yet another classical example where the Supreme Court has said the operation of the law, but it is not the entire operation of the law. They have permitted certain activities to go. Only certain portions have been stayed till the judgments getting pronounced. Final order is being disposed. Now what is happening in this case? You are completely halting the state. Under what ground? That grounds has not been specified. Under what authority of the law? Which provision enables you? People may say complete justice concept. Complete justice concept under 142 will come into picture only at the time of delivering the justice. Final order. Not at the time of, you have not even gone into the merits of the case. How are you coming to such a conclusion? So, under what authority? The quo warranto. But the problem, who can issue a quo warranto? The petition, what is it? Prohibition and certiorari. There is no higher court than the Supreme Court. It is in this country, we have the legacy that the Honorable High Court of Delhi has given a judgment against the values are influenced by the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court has, when the Supreme Court has seen that the judgment has gone against their interest, they themselves have taken in this appeal that is pertaining to RTI. Now the present government has diluted the RTI also. Of course, that's a separate matter of discussion. Please remember, the same Honorable Supreme Court has come forward to rescue migrant laborers. An unconstitutional regulation has been promulgated by the government of Gujarat, mandating the laborers to work beyond certain time in the name of COVID crisis. Thanks to the Honorable Supreme Court, they have struck down that. We have dissenting judges like Justice Khanna, Bose, Fasan Ali. Their views have become the future law. Even today, we have certain judges like Justice Chandrachud, who is kind enough to give dissenting views even in the recent Aadhar case. Still, people have faith in the Supreme Court because the dissenting judges are always have to pay bigger price. They have to earn the wrath of the politicians. Sometimes Justice Khanna has to forego his Chief Justiceship, but even then, he has saved all of us. We hope still we have such a good judges, though the quantum may be varying, but still we have high men of virtuosity. I am sure they will come forward to save the institutional virtuosity. Again, I have to speak certain things on the legal validity of these constitutional validities of these laws. Primarily, it is an intrastate subject. Commodities, distribution of food, all these things. It is an intrastate subject. Though Article 33 has been, Entry 33, concurrent list, itself is a violation of basic structure. Of course, nobody has challenged this since it is surviving. Again, in the name of regulating interstate trade and commerce, the parliament and arbitrarily this particular law is regulating the intrastate trade and commerce pertaining to agricultural goods. This is yet another aspect people have to look into that. We all remember there is a popular case in US, a case called McClough versus state of Maryland. In US, they say power to tax means power to destroy. Now, we are switching over suddenly from cooperative federalism to competitive federalism. Now, the central government is competing with the state government in the name of promoting interstate trade and commerce, in the name of promoting farmers' welfare. Actually, you are promoting the corporate welfare because you want to attract FDI. And if you have a good heart, you can say what is the price calculation method which we have incorporated in these laws. There is not even mentioning of the MSP. That's what farmers have asked. If the Supreme Court has given a ruling that right to MSP is forming part of under Article 21, many of the crises could have been solved. I'm sure Supreme Court will come up such an interpretation in the times to come. We all should remember the right to food, how it has come. It is only by a virtue of a judgment rendered by the Honorable Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court has seen that food products are wasted in the godowns, then they come up to say that it should be distributed freely. That is why you have this Right to Food Guarantee Act. That's a very important one. Our Supreme Court has done many great things, very, very vibrant things, so as to make the Constitution very resilient and vibrant, so as to see that it accommodates the present day requirements, whether it is technological aspects, right? They have banned even the GEM, genetically modified engineered goods or agricultural goods. It has done the same. So we hope that Supreme Court will not force our farmers to go for negotiation. Supreme Court decides sooner the constitutional validity of this law, declaring that these laws are unconstitutional, particularly the Farmers Contracting Act. It puts the farmers in a very uncomfortable situations because farmers are weaker. This contract law touches the very basic policy, public policy. It is very much against the public policy under Section 26 of our Indian Contract Act. Apart from that, it also violates Article 39, particularly Class A, livelihood, the farmers, unless when they are empowered, enabled equally with the corporate sector. It's an unequal laws actually, unequal bargaining power. So therefore, in the interest of enforcing the directive principles read with Article 21 of the Fundamental Rights, Article 14, I hope all these laws can be struck down by our Honorable Supreme Court in the years to come, and justice will prevail. If at all we say Jai Jawan and Jai Kisan in true letter and spirit, I hope such a day will come sooner rather than later. Jai Jawan, Jai Hind. God bless you.